Josh here from Chicken Fox Productions, welcoming you to another episode of Memories of Us podcast. Today, Tony introduces Randy Manlapig, respiratory therapist and co-host of the podcast R&I. This week, Randy graces us with his journey through grief after losing his brother.
Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Memories of Us. Today, we got Randy, and Randy is here to share his story. I don't want to give away too many details, but he does some amazing work with people, and I'm just going to hand it over to him. Randy, how you doing today, brother?
Hey, I'm doing pretty good. How about yourself, Tony?
I'm doing well, brother. Thank you for being on the show, man.
And likewise, thank you for having me.
Yeah. So, tell everybody tell everybody about yourself.
All right. Yeah. So, first of all, very huge thank you for having me on the show. Obviously, Randy or Randolph when I'm in trouble, but Randy or yeah. So those who call me Randy, obviously those are cool people. So hey, there you go.
Hey man, I'm glad to be part of that club. Brother.
Yeah, well, man, where to start? So I currently reside in Las Vegas, Nevada, and I moved here in the middle of my high school year. So obviously I was not having it with my parents as they implanted me from California away from my friends. So from there, went to school. I knew I wanted to be something in the medical field. Went through physical therapy assistant, not really my mission. My dad actually told me about this career called respiratory therapy, and I said, okay, we'll give it a shot. Went through schooling, so I am now a respiratory therapist, and I'm not your usual hospital respiratory therapist where we go around giving patients breathing treatments after breathing treatments after breathing treatments. We also did the ventilators, as you may know, with COVID around. We're the ones who are managing the ventilators along with the pulmonologists and the nurses. So I'm actually kind of proud to say that. Like I said, I'm not your usual respiratory therapist, and I say that because I'm working in a outpatient or primary care setting, providing education for patients who have chronic obstructive pulmonary diseases, or also known as COPD. I also work with patients who have or had COVID because their symptoms are, they need to be managed. And a lot of times they're home alone, so we call to check up on them and see if there's anything that we can do to help them in any way. And sometimes we go the extra mile as far as calling an Uber or Uber Eats or getting some food or soup or whatever, so right. I did that a couple of times. So
I think we all have during COVID.
Yeah. I think, Grubhub is like one of those things too. So, so respiratory therapist, educating patients. And I was just telling, Tony, I was telling him that I just basically turned my greatest fear and my weakness into my greatest strength. And I say that because I myself have asthma. As a little kid, I've been into the hospital numerous times, been to the ER way too many times I can count. Didn't know about the respiratory therapy profession. I was always thought that the nurse or the doctor took care of me, but nope, there's a whole multidisciplinary professionals out there that would assist in the care. So I'm just glad to be part of that team now.
Yeah. I'm glad to have you here, man. You figured it out.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, because a lot of people don't.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that you're doing the work that you're doing because you come from a place of lived experience,
mm-hmm.
and you understand the importance of having people like yourself around to care for people who aren't by themselves,
right?
And educating people who don't really understand it. Now, the journey getting there, the journey getting there. Take us on how you got into that work.
So getting into the work, I knew that, like I said, I knew I wanted to be in the medical field because my mom worked as a CNA. Dad was in, post office, but I followed mom's footsteps, and both very caring, and I knew I wanted to do something like that too. And it just came to me as um, as being a medical professional, as a respiratory therapist. So I'm just really blessed, and I'm really appreciative into being in this field. So
Yeah. Now, are your parents are still around?
yeah, they're still around there. So I'm in Henderson, which is, if you're not familiar with Las Vegas, I'm in the south side of Las Vegas. They're up north. So the
Okay.
drive up there is like 30 minutes away. Not a big deal, especially if you live in California, where
Right.
it's like super far, like from the Bay Area to the Valley.
Yeah.
But here in Las Vegas, Nevada, it's like, I think you get to anywhere in 30 minutes. So not really a big drive for me. But yeah, they're still around. I don't have my grandparents; they're not around. I've only met my grandfather and that's on my dad's side. I was told that my grandparents on my mom's side, they passed away when I think I was not even born yet. Actually,
Yeah.
I wasn't even born, so I didn't really get a chance to meet them. Same thing with my dad's mom. So I just go off my memory as in the pictures that I see,
Mhm.
and so that's all I know. So
Yeah. Now, do you have any siblings?
I do. I have a sister who still lives with my parents, married as well. I used to have a brother, and I think this is where we're going to go right here.
All right.
So I don't know if you want me to go ahead and go straight
No,
into
go
it.
ahead.
Yeah.
Go ahead. To speak your truth, baby. Go
Okay.
ahead now.
All right.
Yeah.
So 16 years old. I think I was what was I? I was 16. I think I was junior year high school. I think it's about right. All I know is in high school. So one of the reasons why we had moved here from Sacramento, California, was to be closer to my brother, who was in the military, Air Force. He was stationed at Luke Air Force Base, which is about a couple hours away from here. And my parents my parents mostly, because me being a high school student, like just wanted to just hang out with my friends, right?
Right.
My parents wanted to be close to my brother, so that's one of the reasons why I moved here. So I say I had a brother because he had passed away in a motor vehicle accident. Now it's very unfortunate, but the story goes. So I was basically the last person that he had talked to. Back in the day where we had the MSN Messenger chatting online and stuff like that.
Oh yeah.
That was that was us.
Oh yeah.
That was us. We didn't. I didn't really have a cell phone, but if I did, it was just for emergency purposes only. So we would chat, and it was the day before my mom's birthday. He said he was going to come in to drive to see my mom on her birthday. And that is when he got into a car accident. So what happened was, now let me go ahead and go back a little bit here.
Okay.
To give you a backstory of my brother. He's the opposite of me. He's a daredevil. he did bungee jumping at the age of 15. He flew a plane at the age of 16. Not by himself, of course, with his buddy Emmanuel, who actually lives in here in Vegas. So that's pretty cool that I'm really close to his best friend. And he went to the Air Force at 18. In the Air Force, he was a pararescuer. He went in to be a firefighter as well. And he always wanted to be an F-16 pilot. And I think 2 weeks before he had passed away, he actually got accepted to be a pilot there. And so I think part of what he wanted to do when visiting was to kind of brag about it and kind of celebrate, and that's a good thing. So we wanted to do that for sure. So that's his little backstory. Now, fast forward of when he passed away, is that if you're familiar with the roads coming from Arizona to here, you have the kind of like the one lane going on opposite sides.
Yeah.
And of course, you got the hills, the winding road, you got the solid line saying to not pass. He was trying to pass up an 18-wheeler on his black Isuzu Rodeo. He was trying to pass it up, and he saw another SUV coming at him. So his first instinct was to kind of swerve onto the shoulder, not back onto the lane he was supposed to be in, because the truck was occupying that space. Mm-hmm. So he went to the other side, but unfortunately the car coming at him had the same idea. And it was kind of like one of those head-on collisions. Both parties passed away on the spot right there.
I'm sorry to hear that, brother.
And yeah, this was on my mom's birthday, so it was really difficult for her.
Yeah.
But I mean, each time that my mom has some kind of birthday, I'm always, try to be there. Try to be there when, like, the first thing she wakes up to is like, me being there.
Right.
And I'm pretty sure with her, actually my parents, and I think, losing a child is very difficult. It's really hard.
It is.
Because you raise them for this whole time. You made sure nothing. You try to protect them from everything, from everything they fear, and all of a sudden, they vanish. But telling that story, it's. I'm not going to say it's easy, but then again, it's not hard, because who likes to tell these kind of stories? But I got to a point where I have to kind of get comfortable with the fact that it happened. And another thing is that he was only 2 years older, and he was age 20 when he passed away. Ever since he left or even before he went to the Air Force, I was just here, little brother, always following big brother, like a shadow,
Right.
So after he had left, it was almost like the tunnel that, it used to be all lit up. Now all the lights just went away, and you're just left in the dark. And that's what I felt. And now it's kind of like, okay, now you got to pick yourself back up, because you're just laying on the floor, looking at this very dark tunnel, and just try to find some light in it. But it was just pretty hard, because just the fact that the two Air Force airmen were just knocking at the door. Excuse me. Knocking on the door, and I was alone with my sister when my parents were out watching a show. I honestly forgot which show it was. And again, cell phone for emergencies. I had to call them because, hey, I got these two Air Force, these gentlemen in the Air Force suits or service attire wanted to talk to you.
Right.
My initial thought was like, he's hurt badly in the hospital. Never did I think that he would pass away.
Right.
My parents came home and they delivered the news, and it was difficult to see my parents. I think I was grieving more for my parents than anything, that I didn't even have time for myself to grieve during that time. My parents took it really hard, and like, I felt like I just needed to comfort them. I was bawling myself. I was really hurt and everything, but I was looking out for my parents and my sister.
Right.
And I think during that whole time, from that time he passed away to the funeral and up until they buried him, I think I was limiting myself from, trying to express myself. And
Right.
obviously that's a bad thing because it's crazy how when you preach the things that you do, you obviously you like sometimes don't do it. Like you tell
Yeah.
you
Oh,
tell a
yeah.
friend like you shouldn't bottle everything up, especially your emotions, because it could just blow.
Well,
That
yeah.
was me.
Yeah. Well, our whole entire life, the society has always told us, you have to be a man, right? You know what I'm
Right.
saying? It's not manly to show these emotions. You can't do this and you can't do that and you can't do this and so forth and so forth. So then when we are faced with situations like yourself, we find ourselves, we neglect ourselves. We as men, we're fixers.
Mm-hmm.
So it's only natural, son, going to the parents, trying to comfort them, because now you've taken on a role that your dad would normally take over with your mother,
Right.
except them two are sharing the same one. Because, like you said, loss of a child, it is the worst feeling in the world,
Mm-hmm.
and it's something that doesn't go anywhere because you lose two parts of yourself. You lose the part that you're used to having your child around, and now you've lost the person that you are.
Yeah.
You lose yourself in this whirlwind. So it's not uncommon for men to want to isolate themselves, like
Right.
yourself, want to detach because we don't understand it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's like you said, practice what you preach, right?
Right.
I practice it now, but before I was,
Yeah.
isolated for 2 years.
Right.
2 years, in my own house. I was like, I don't want to be bothered with anyone. I didn't want the world to see me.
Right.
Right. I didn't want people to see me hurt.
Right. And that was exactly my experience with it as well. Is
Yeah.
you know my brother was a very strong guy, mentally and physically. I was always, again, the follower and I was always being put down. And the good that I saw after him passing away was that I was able to forge my own path, and
Mm-hmm.
I was able to look in the mirror, and I was able to see him there. It's kind of hard to describe. Like he, like I said, I would always follow his footsteps, and I think with him being gone, it just kind of realized that, um, being a leader is one of my strong points as well.
Right.
Because he was always that leader. He was always that person to like kind of slap you aside and say, "Hey, dummy, you shouldn't be acting like that." The bigger
That's what big
brother.
brother's supposed to do.
Yeah, and, like for example, like the girl problems. Like, okay, dummy, you shouldn't be like putting yourself down. Like as if he's the only one that can. Stuff like that. So, and it was pretty hard because I tried to take on that role as the older brother for my little sister as well. Yeah. And when she got her first boyfriend, who is now her husband, I was always thinking, what will my brother do? What would my brother tell him? What would my brother ask him? How would my brother interrogate him?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
But friends and family just reminded me, saying that you're your own person. You're an individual. You are not going to be your brother, and you handle things differently than he will. So you just got to do what is best for you.
Right.
But yeah, there is. Even to this day, and I tell my fiance this, I'm like, I still dream about him. I still have thoughts, and who does it?
Right.
Everybody still remembers everything that every experience that they had with their loved ones before they were lost.
Right.
And I was telling I'm also a father of 3 stepkids, and I tell them I used to be in each and one of your shoes. What I mean by that is I used to be the younger one until my sister came around, and then I was then the middle, and then my brother passed away. I became the older one. So I know exactly what each of you are going through, as their position as a
starting to
child.
develop. Yeah, as they're starting to grow.
Right. And so that's that's another interesting fact about me. I'm a stepfather of 3. So, and so as I'm telling the kids about my brother, they're just always asking me. So again, there's just absolutely no way you cannot go a day without thinking about the person that you just lost.
Right.
So, and another thing was that about 4 or 5 years ago, I had a connection, or I had somebody that knew somebody who was an emotional code practitioner. I'm not sure if you're familiar with that, but I was not.
No, no. I'm actually, this is a new term for me.
Yeah. So, the emotion code practitioner, basically, he sits with you like how we are right now. He goes and just how do I phrase it here? He goes back into where I'm still in my mom's womb. Like, there's certain emotions that my mom had felt that have passed over to me.
Yes.
Right? So when you're born, you are created and you are given those same emotions because you have felt it within the womb.
Mm-hmm.
So any kind of grief, any kind of anxiety, any kind of stress that she have felt, obviously you will feel as well.
Right.
Now, obviously, when you're born, you're going to grow, and you'll have some experiences. And he was able to pinpoint certain ages where something drastic in your life had happened. For example, at the age of 7, he pinpointed that something happened, and that was when I got ran over in LA.
Wow.
With my brother. We were trying to cross the street to go to get some ice cream, and my uncle wasn't really watching us, so me and my brother decided to go and get some ice cream. We got run over. That was at the age of 7.
Holy crap.
And then at the age of 9, I believe, was when I was put in a closet from that same uncle, with my brother, because we were, naughty and we're bad, and we were there up until my parents got home.
Holy crap.
So it's traumatizing, right? So that's what got me my claustrophobia. At the age of 16, he named off a whole bunch of emotions: anger, grief, anxiety, stress, sadness, everything that you name, everything that you go through when you lose a loved one. And he said that was the biggest, the most emotions that he saw from one of my ages, which is the age of 16. Well, lo and behold, that was when my brother had passed away. And so that was, I think, one of the other only times besides how we're talking right now was when I'm able to talk about my brother passing. So, I mean, even right now, like how I'm talking to you right now about him passing away, it's just, difficult. It's at some point uncomfortable, but at the same time, it's one of those things where if you don't let it out, the soda pop bottle analogy,
Oh yeah, I mean, you will explode. I've seen several people do it and not even understand that they've done it.
Right.
You know, and that was the crazy part, because you watch it, you know, even include myself, I am guilty of it. I always tell people I grieved over 30 years
Hmm.
before I understood what grief actually was. And it was because of that suck it up mentality. You
Right.
suck it up, keep moving forward, right? And I always had the mentality, this life is not going to get me. It's not going to beat me.
Hmm.
I'm not going to let anything in this life beat me, until it almost did. Then it exploded. And then everybody looked at me and was going, it was only a matter of time. And I looked at her and I was like, why was you rooting for me over here? You know, they were like, no, we knew you was rooting for you, but we knew it was only a matter of time. You're like, you can only hold but so much in
Yeah.
until someone, and I believe that's what happened. There's a lot of people that caught the raft of it, you know, and I held it in, and I began to give myself permission.
Hmm.
And I think that was the vital point in understanding everything I had gone through up until that moment. And just remember, I don't know why, but I listened to my body of what it needs.
Yeah.
And something just said, put on some music,
Yeah.
put on some music. So I put on a song that reminded me of my son.
Hmm.
And then I had a playlist of songs that reminded me of my grandmother's, my dad, my little brother, my son, and then my mother. And I just played them over and over. And I remember just sitting there and just crying, man.
Yeah.
And that happened. That went on for quite some time. It wasn't just one day.
Hmm.
Yeah, and yeah, man, it was. How's your relationship with your parents now?
Um, we've gotten a lot closer. You know, as kids when we were growing up, we're like, man, our parents won't let us go out to do anything, or man, I don't, you know, that kind of thing. So we
Right.
kind of drifted apart. And then as um, honestly, when my brother had left to the Air Force, I was still really tight with my friends and everything, and my parents were always, you know, working and everything. And then when that unfortunate event hit,
Mm.
that's when our whole family just came into one, and me and my parents were just as close as ever. I just felt like, and it's one of those things where everything has a purpose. You know, everything happens for a
Right.
reason, and I think there's a um, there's a greater power up there that just knows what is best for everybody. And I know, and like, unfortunately, it just happened to take the life of my brother. But because of that happening, there are a lot of things happened ever since then.
Mm.
Like me being able to um, focus on my songwriting, which I had started from middle school, where I mean, if you look at a lot of songwriters, a lot of their greatest songs came from genuinely their emotions after something drastic has happened. And I have somewhere in the closet, somewhere in books, in the folder somewhere. I have, like, you know, a couple of songs very personal about my family and my brother. A lot of them are, you know, R&B love songs, but his was more of, you know, um, very passionate, very sad songs about him. And yeah, I think after this podcast, I'm going to go ahead and probably look for it.
See,
But
now you got me anxious now,
yeah.
man. I have to wait for the song to come out. I'm like, I know him.
Yeah.
just remember the little guy over here.
Yeah.
I know you. Remember?
I know you.
I know you, man.
So,
No, I think that is really, really cool, man. You've taken a way to not only find a passion, but found your
mhm.
purpose in doing multiple things, you know,
Oh yeah.
helping educate people about COPD, and then getting back into songwriting. I find that is, I journal. You
Yeah.
asked me to write a song, I couldn't do it, right? I,
I
I don't
did
even
that
attempt it.
also. I did
Did you?
that. I did journaling also. But then
Okay.
I was like, this is like rhyming on accident. it's like turning into a song right now. So I might as well just go for it, you know.
It was like, it's a song now.
Yeah, it's a song now. We'll just call it a
No,
song.
mine's turned into motivationals,
Yeah.
you know. So I do motivationals, and we do them like once a month. And so I sit around, and my guys are like, "We need to do this." So that's what I do. I write motivationals. I can write songs, but I dare not sing them.
Same.
Yeah, like it sounds good on paper.
Yeah.
And if I'm by myself, I'll rock that song.
Oh, definitely.
I'll
I'm
rock
the
it,
same
right?
way.
Yeah, as soon as somebody comes, it's like,
It's like, I was just, you know.
Yeah, I was,
you know,
doing it for somebody else. Don't pay no attention to me. And then you kind of grab everything and walk off like,
yeah, it's like, walk away.
Yeah, just kind of walk off. Now, how's your relationship with your sister?
My sister, okay, so to be honest with you, it's not as great as I thought it would be. Reason why is because her and I are 6 years apart, which makes her and my brother 8 years apart, which means that when he had passed away, memories of him not really exist with her. And she had a conversation with my fiance saying that she doesn't really have a lot of images in her memory of him. So I can talk to her about how our brother was. I can tell her how he is. I can, everything, but it's like you're just talking to her, but then she doesn't really understand it because she didn't really experience it all. As much as I try to get close, she's really introverted. She always keeps to herself, always at home. And her husband, they're kind of like me. We're geeks. We like to play games and board games and stuff. So, but she finds a little bit more comfort from her friends, only because they understand her or understand her more than I can with her. And the thing is that our relationship, ever since we were kids, the thing was that ever since she was born, it was kind of like, and my parents would tell me too, is that I was a little jealous of her being around because it used to be me and my brother go there, me and my brother go do that. It didn't come out that way when, she came around, and it was my brother protecting her rather than, hanging out with me and stuff like that. So as a kid, I was just jealous and stuff. And even before my brother had passed away, we all took like a group picture with me, my sister, and him. And I just felt like they were really close to each other. And it kind of hurts. It doesn't hurt me inside, but it just kind of sucks for the fact that she has like not much memory of him, because he was so like all for her, and here I am, here I am having this jealousy feeling because they always hung out and I was there. So
right.
And now growing up as adults, I'm always trying to, I took over the big brother role. Like, hey, how you doing? Hey, how you feeling? We're gonna have game night Saturday night. You want to come over? You want to go have dinner? You want to have lunch? Unfortunately, a lot of those responses were doing something, and I think you kind of understand where the relationship stands between her and I. As much as I want to be close to her, I don't think it'll. I don't know. I'm still kind of working on it, I guess. So.
Well, it's one step at a time, man.
Yeah.
I do the same thing. I have a younger sister, and I was always very protective over her. But if you let her tell the story, she'll tell you I tried to kill her a couple of times. Yeah, no, she and I used to fight all the time, and but I always loved her to death.
Hmm.
And always looked out to her even when she didn't know I was. And that's one of the secrets I always told about her. And experienced all the losses. She and I both share a lot of our losses together.
Right.
But the one that separates us is losing a child.
Hmm.
And that was the one I don't wish on no one, especially my little sister. She has four beautiful girls, four beautiful nieces. And I
Nice,
would like to
nice.
see them grow up to be, older
Definitely.
and,
Yeah.
have beautiful lives and things like that. And I wish nothing, I live in Colorado. My sister lives in Virginia, so I understand the long distance thing. And, but I'm not going to say always, I can do better.
Hmm.
I, when I do reach out to her, I always make sure she knows I love her
Yeah.
because we never know when it's the last time that we see each other.
Right.
You
Exactly.
know, we know that we're both good right now. We're breathing, but I always want to make sure that she knows I love her.
Yeah.
So it takes time. It takes a lot of time and understanding because the walk of grief, as you know,
Hmm.
um, it's it's messy. It's hard, especially when you don't understand. And then being an introvert, right?
Hmm.
Y- Being an introvert myself, I can actually understand that because I never wanted to be a burden.
Yeah.
And I
Hmm.
know you probably felt that way at one point in time. You suppress your emotions enough because you don't want to be a burden on anyone else,
Right. Right. Right.
or project,
Hmm.
right? You don't want to project what you're going through. And I'm glad to see you came out of that because when we hold back in all of those things, when we tell ourselves that we're a burden, our mind starts to take us to a different state. And like you said, being in that place where all the lights used to be, and now they're all off,
Hmm.
right? And now climbing out of that hole. You want to talk a little bit about that, being in that hole that you were in, and finding your way back out, finding the light.
Yeah. So, again, that going back to that dark tunnel, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, that right there. I kind of left you guys on a cliffhanger, huh? My bad. Sorry.
No, I like cliffhangers, but I figure if you wanted to,
Yeah.
if you wanted to touch on it, man, I figure I'd bring it back up. Take us
Yeah.
down that journey with us. Take us on that journey with you,
Yeah.
brother.
Definitely. So again, laying flat, looking up. No lights, all dark. Something just hit. Kind of like what you said earlier. Like a small voice tells you, like, "Hey, what are you doing?" It's kind of like, "What are you doing, dummy?"
Right? Yeah,
and
yeah.
it's like, okay, where you at? Where? So it and it's funny because where, why, where, those questions,
Mhm.
those are that's like the number one thing that actually got me back up on my feet. Curiosity um, got me back up on my feet. What I mean by that is, where else can I go? What can I do? What am I supposed to do now that he's gone? How can I make myself an individual since I was here following his footsteps for 16 years?
Mm.
What can I do to improve myself like how he did going into the Air Force? I had a plan before he graduated. We had to take this little survey, like, what did you want to do after your high school? Well, I wanted to for sure get my bachelor's degree and work in the medical profession. And I'm happy to say that I achieved both of those goals. I got my bachelor's degree in health science, and I'm working as a respiratory therapist in a doctor's office. And those are the things that just kept me going. Plan, you just things things will happen along the way.
Yeah.
Me being on that floor in that tunnel just made me realize that your life isn't over. Your life isn't over. I had to say that like 3 times, like, your life isn't over. come on, dummy, you know. Like I always hear him say that, you know, like, and so it's kind of like, get back up on your feet.
There you go.
Brush off the dust. You know, and it's funny because I always bring up this analogy because I don't know about you, but there's a saying in the Bible that says, you know, walk by faith and not by sight.
Right.
And that was exactly what I felt like I was doing right there. And it's to just have faith in not only what the people around you, faith in not people, not only what the people that helped you, not your family, not just your friends, but yourself as well. You need to trust yourself, trust your own instincts, trust your own body to know that you can keep pushing through. Yeah. And as soon as that clicked, I was just like, holy moly, okay, we're really doing this now, right? So
that's what it's like, man. It's like, okay, because it's like once you start figuring out and you figure out what works for you, you realize that these tools are already embedded in you. You ask the right questions,
right?
You know, like, why am I here? What am I doing? You know, and all these other questions that come along with it, and then you start answering them. Now the tunnel don't seem too bad. I was telling someone, I always tell this, sometimes I say it in the podcast as well, but it's like you're in a tunnel, right? And I used to tell people I was in this well, right? This dark well. And at the very top, I can see this little bitty dot of light.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. You know, you can relate to that. I like to call that my dark place because inside of that place right there, I've been the most hateful to myself.
Yeah.
You know, I didn't talk good to myself. Anything that you can imagine about how to put your own self down.
Yeah.
That's what it was like.
And that's exactly it right there.
Yeah. And you want somebody to throw you a lifeline, right? And then all of a sudden you see a rope drop down and you go to grab it and they pull on it. And you're like, don't put the rope down here if you're not going to let me grab it, right? And I used to tell people, I used to always think that the person up on top just really didn't like me at all because every time he pulled the rope, they would kick dirt on top of my head. And I would go, you know, if you're going to bury him alive, don't just do it in segments.
Right.
Just
all
do
at
it
once.
all at one time, you know, and just go ahead and be done and over with.
Right.
But then something happened and I realized that the rope was inspiration, right? They put it down there saying, you can have this, but I'm going to give you something better, but you're going to have to figure out how to work on it. So I started using the dirt that they were throwing on top of me and I was packing it under me.
Right.
And underneath me were all of these things I started learning. And then they would kick more dirt down and I would build on that platform. And eventually I was at the top of the hole, right?
Nice, yeah.
Stomping on the dirt, smoothing it out. I am not going back down that hole, right? But it was the journey getting up to the top.
Yeah.
It was understanding that I can get out of this dark hole if I stay focused on what it's trying to teach me. Why am I here? Well, here you go. Figure it out. Why are you here? And I went, oh, this is what I'm supposed to do, right? And I put that down there and I went, okay. Eventually I got up to the top and the guy that was throwing the dirt on top of me wasn't there. And so I was like, you little coward. You're lucky you're not here.
But listen, you know,
yeah, but listen, you know, he left the rope and everything. I was like, you just couldn't, you know, I get it. But it was the journey of getting back up to the bottom of there and realizing that, you know, everything that we need as men, everything that we need as brothers, as, you know, as fathers, as uncles, you know, and cousins and so forth, good friends, you know, is inside of us. And sometimes it takes you hitting your version of rock bottom.
Yeah.
To find out what you're truly here to do.
Oh yeah. And that rock bottom, I don't think I'll ever feel that again, because we hit rock bottom, of course. And I really like that well analogy. I think I'm going to use that.
Go ahead,
because, adding on to it, as you're putting more dirt on top of the well, it's kind of like you're burying the dark place that you once had.
Yes.
but it's still there because you can just open it back up by just, digging through it.
Mm-hmm.
But you just buried it. Really love that analogy.
It's when you actually break it down and think about it, it's it's how you perceive it to be.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, it was just something deeper to it once I got up to the top of it and having to go through all of that. And getting up to the top, as tired as I was, I can look back on it and go, I don't want to do that again.
Right.
Right. But I have something now that I can give to others.
Mm-hmm.
I can give to other men by sharing my story, by sharing your story. I give the other men by having support groups to make sure that they have a place to come and talk and find their own way out of that hole. But yet do it around other men who understand what they've gone through because they've been in that hole before, right?
Mm-hmm.
And to be a part of a community that you didn't think that you was going to be a part of, and be around other people, other men in that community that actually want to have those conversations, know how you're doing.
Yeah.
They want to inspire you. They want to be there when you're down. They're not trying to pick you up to their level. They want to sit down with you and get up with you and walk with you, and develop a friendship, a brotherhood. And it just, they want to they want you to be who you are meant to be.
Right.
After going through all of that. And I like to call that a rediscovery walk, right? Because you literally have to reframe who you are.
Oh yeah, definitely.
As you're going through it, because you have so many things that are not there, but so many other things that are there. And you can't be the same person. And if you are, you're going to find yourself in a bad way. And I don't want to see no other men like that, man. No other men.
Definitely.
Now, how's the relationship with your fiance right now? Because she knows everything, right?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Now you spoke a little bit about her. So how's that relationship? How because it sounds like your brother influenced you. His influence is still there.
Yeah.
As you're growing through it. So you got another influencer on the other side over there. How's your relationship with her?
Oh my God, I love her to death. Just as much as my parents, we just got back from a 10-day vacation over in Mexico with my fiance, my kids and my parents, her parents. It was all one big family trip. And because of that trip, I love her even more because of how she was, around my parents and everything. They just they just meshed well, all together, all of us. And it was just, I was like, whoa, I didn't even think that would happen. You always have that little doubt in the back of your mind that something's going to mess up, right? But at the end of the trip, it was just like, she's the one, definitely. So now, yeah, I honestly didn't think I would meet somebody like her. Her influence on myself weighs really heavily, almost as much as my brother. And I say that because, with my brother, it's, he's a brother. He's my brother, and he's been with me like a whole big chunk of my life. With her, we've only been together since 2018. I know it's not a long time, but it's one of those things where I felt like we've known each other even longer. She lost somebody really close to her who had influenced her a lot, as much as my brother did. So us coming together, talking about how we lost them, why we think they're the best, why we think we are who we are right now, and it's because of who we lost. And it's the same thing with her, like she because her losing her grandmother that she was really close to as a child, she was able to explain and grieve with me as I was able to do that with her. And I say that, and it may not sound like it's a big thing, but and I don't really like talking about my past relationships with others, but she's the only girl or the only woman that I actually can speak with about it. And the reason why, and it's kind of like how we are right now, is because we understand each other.
Right.
All the ones in the past is me talking to them. They say they understand, but in reality, they don't. And I can tell. And she gets it like 100%, she gets it. And that's what I love about her. She's very understanding, and she has a lot of compassion, and what she's been through on her end, um, made her, very strong at the same time. I'm just like peeking over. I just want to make sure she doesn't peek in here, Like, you talking about me? I'm like, nah.
She probably hear you too. She probably like, I'm gonna get him when he gets off this. When he gets off, I'm getting him. Put me out there like that. Just so you know, I didn't force him to do it. I didn't do it. I'm making sure she only coming out to you.
I'm gonna fast forward her back into this track right here,
Yeah, we going like this. Was it me? Just so you know, I'm keep saying that just so you're not gonna get me.
It's on me, I know. Guilty, got it.
Every time you turn around, just so no, man, that is beautiful, man. Are you over there shedding tears? I saw you.
Yeah, but
oh my God, no, man, that is beautiful, man. That is truly beautiful.
No, it is. I mean, I was engaged once, and that one ended in like very bad terms, and it was like one of those things where I thought she was the one, but obviously she wasn't. And again, everything happens for a reason, and I was able to meet, my fiance right now, and yeah, she's just the best. I mean, if anything were to happen, I'm like, I'm going right back to her as much as I can. You know what I mean? I'm like, oh my gosh, yeah, I love her to death. I do.
Oh man, one day for me, I'll find that. But I've ruined too many relationships, and because of what I was going through, not knowing how to talk, and not knowing how to open up. I'm very stubborn, very stubborn. And if I would have known then what I know now, that old saying.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I do believe one of my relationships would have worked out, right? Because of what they were asking me, I wasn't capable of doing it. I know it sounds crazy, right? I wasn't. I wasn't capable of doing it.
Okay.
And it was something so simple of just talk to me.
Yeah.
Right. And I used to look at their life, and I'm going, you have your kids, you have your parents, you've never really experienced a whole lot of grief except for one. And I'm not going to get into it. I'm not going to put her stuff out there, but she experienced something really, really horrible. And I think that's where our connective was, but the disconnect is that, how do I tell this person like what's really going on in my head,
Right.
And I don't know. I've ruined it, man.
Yeah.
There was, it could have been better.
Yeah, and
from my end.
And I can relate to you because the girlfriend at the time when my brother had passed away, I had just completely shut down. I did not want to talk to anybody. I turned into this hard, multi-layered shell that didn't want to do any kind of communication whatsoever, especially with her. And she was just always just trying to help and everything. And looking back, it's like I'm just always pushing them away, and and it's like right now with her, our relationship isn't really perfect, and one of the things that she's always telling me is we need to communicate better. We're always communicating, yes, but we need to communicate better. And I'm not gonna lie, there's still some times where I come back into my little shell or whatever, and that's because I think when you grow up, it's just one of those things where you get used to, like, to go back to your comfort zone. And my comfort zone happens to be to just not say anything, bottle it up again. And then here goes my brother, say something, dummy, or say, so
I love that. Say something, dummy.
Like, it's one of those things. So, and she, again, very understanding how she is, because she was in that same predicament as well. She's able to comprehend what I was going through, understand what I need to go through, as she goes through, similar things as well. And I understand her because of what I went through, so it's I guess you could say our frequency just met at the right vibe. You know what I mean?
There you go. I like that.
And so now we're just vibing, we're just going on.
When your vibrations are on the same level, because you attract exactly what you need,
Mm-hmm.
And when you can do that on a whole new level to where only you and her are on that vibration,
Mm-hmm.
it's a beautiful thing, man. I'm still trying to figure out who I'm vibrating on. Right now, it's just repelling.
Okay. No. But what I failed to say to you is that
I see how you turned that around. I see what you did there. No, you don't understand. Wait, hold
on. Come back.
Oh my God.
But I'm gonna tell you what a lot of my friends told me is that the universe works in very peculiar ways.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie, I met her through Match. I was actively looking. I was at the point of giving up, and here she comes. Hi. That one, that one little message. Hi, and then boom. Everybody tells me like, "Oh, you're such a good guy. You do this, you do that, and everything." And everybody says good guys always finish last. The bad guys get the good ones. I'm like, no, it's just realize that there's a person out there always for you. It's just not your time yet. And here I am, 33 years old, about to get married. But Tony, they're out there.
Look, you say you're 36. You say you're 33. I got 13 years on you. In the next 3 years, I'm hanging up the towel. I'm done. We're just going to have to accept this the way
Tony,
that it
just
is.
add a number. Come on now.
I think I've already exceeded the odds, but I've already exceeded them. I'm like, okay, well, you said one out of all. None? Really?
No.
Are we going to do this again? I mean, so I'm still trying to work it out with the universe. I'm still trying to work it out with them. I'm like, so I know we did the math, and this is what you said. I think we miscalculated because this is where I am.
Remainder 2. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, like, see? And the universe is like, what am I going to do with you? I swear every time I say something, the universe is like, there's something wrong with him. There's something wrong with him. I'm going, did you not see this? Did you not see it? So yeah, like
you're here looking up, like
yeah, like we add another one. I mean, come on,
a year, 2 more,
yeah. No, see, I'm trying to go. Are we thinking about 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks,
48 hours? Yeah,
yeah. I mean, I've been waiting 46 years, man. I'm like, okay, are we down to weeks, days? I mean, what's going on, right? I think the universe has hung out in Colorado way too long. Because pot's legal out here, right? So I think the universe has hung out and just forgot about me.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, so what did you? Okay, no. let's work on this first. But the universe is like, no, we good. I'm like, okay.
I guess it's like what you said, one step at a time, right?
Touche. Now you do something interesting as well. You run a podcast as well, right?
Yeah, I do.
Okay. Tell us about your podcast, man.
All right. So last year, I believe in August or September, one of those 2 months, we started a podcast. It's called R&I Podcast. We're found in all platforms. We are in YouTube as well. It's basically with a buddy of mine. His name is Israel. We talk about just about everything. I mean, we're doing a premiere right now, talking about catchy song lyrics, and then last week we were talking about movies that should have had sequels but don't have it. Hashtag Goonies. But we're not going to touch that, We're not going to touch that.
But that's one of my childhood movies right there, man. I'm still waiting.
Yeah, but I think we're going to leave it like that, though. We're going to leave it alone, right? We're going to leave it alone.
I'm going to go ahead and leave that one right there where it is. But catchy song lyrics, huh?
Yeah.
Here's one. You may get mad out of this one.
Oh, geez,
but Baby Shark. Baby Shark.
Way too many times.
That song is going to be in your head.
Watch. I don't know why that didn't make the list, but yes, it is.
Yes, you're going to be like, Baby Shark, just out of nowhere. Come on now. You're thinking about it right now. Baby Shark.
My niece, every time I see her, Baby Shark, like, gritting my teeth right now.
Oh my God. I can't wait to see those episodes. So are you on YouTube as well?
Yeah. So the podcast is in YouTube, R&I Podcast. And I am also on podcasts. I just recently started a vlog. I went into the video platform as opposed to doing the online writing blogging platform, where I stream, video games, basically from anywhere from Phasmophobia or to like tabletop games and traveling. A lot of family oriented content on there, basically. The last vlog we had was about us playing games in Christmas of last year. I haven't had a lot of. We just got back from a trip in Mexico, so I'm actually going to start working on that. But yeah, please do check it out. So
now it's how can people get a hold of you if they need to find your vlog?
Yeah, definitely. So the vlog is called Wolf Shield Chronicles. It's 3 words: Wolf Shield Chronicles. Let me explain why I chose that name. So Randolph translates into Wolf Shield. I guess back in the medieval time, a shield with wolf on it, and they called them Randolph or something. So that was my name. So I looked it up, and so I was like, the blog, and I like writing and talking about experiences. Well, experiences come in chronological order, so hence the name Wolf Shield Chronicles. So it's not too catchy, but it's pretty long. Maybe you'll.
I like it. Yeah. I like it because now that you told me what it means, I'm just gonna be like,
Let's see what this Wolf Shield guy has now.
Yeah, let's see what you got, Wolf Shield.
Let's see what's around this time.
Yeah, let's see what you got. Call yourself Mr. Wolf Shield. Randolph.
Randolph.
I saw the look on your face like, whoa.
Who's calling me? Eddie Murphy? God. I'm just kidding.
You got me over here choking, man. My stomach must have hurt. Oh my God. So man, moving forward, man, what you got coming down the pike? Do you got any educational things that you're going to be doing for the public, or just staying local at the moment?
I'm just staying at that level right now. My partner Israel, or Izzy, he said, you're a respiratory therapist. You should be you should be doing videos of like how to breathe. I'm like, I'm like, we do this every day, you know?
Yeah,
We always
right.
breathe. And I always tell my patients that, you know, like, well, what do I do if this happens? Da, 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 da. And I'm like, well, this is, you know, you got to make sure you do this, do that. And then, you know, when you're dealing with patients, a lot of times when you can't breathe, you get a little overwhelmed, you get anxiety, stressed out. So in the end, you always got to tell yourself, as I tell my patients, just keep breathing, you know, just deep breaths and keep moving forward, you know. So
now, to the people out there that's looking at the podcast, what encouraging words would you have them after telling your journey? You know, and people looking to that are struggling right now and looking to trying to get into the type of work that you do. What would you tell them?
well, so you always just want to a lot of people always just say, you know, follow your passion. I'm like, yeah, follow your passion, but at the same time, there's always the other thing that makes you want to just help out others, and that happens to me being the respiratory therapist. So I guess what my message to you is that if you feel like you need to do something to help others, you know, you just gotta find whatever clicks to you. Don't try to force it, like I tried to do when I was trying to be a physical therapist or a physical therapist assistant or even a nurse. Wasn't my thing. Respiratory therapist just happens to just come at me and hit me in the side of the head and say, just like my brother said, just do it, dummy. You know, something like that. Just you know, just, you just
I'm not gonna get over that one. Yeah. Just do it, dummy.
But you know, it's got to be one of those things where it just got to click. It has to click, just like how me and my fiance right now has to have the same vibes. Otherwise, it's just not going to, not, you know, it just won't vibe at all. You know, just got to keep. And going back into the tunnel analogy, one of the things I used to tell, you know, my patients also, or especially for those who experience something like something bad happened, like, as you know, something small, like you keep dropping your pen. I'm like, okay, well, keep moving forward. You know, just like the tunnel, keep moving forward. You know, just keep walking. And that's why I always say walk by faith and not by sight, because as soon as you keep walking, you're going to see that light at the end of the tunnel getting bigger and bigger, you know, as time goes by.
I like that. I like that. Well, I'm going to go ahead and take us on out, brother.
All right.
Randy, I want to say, brother, thank you for being up here and sharing your story, sharing your laughs, man, and just sharing who you are with us, man, and the work that you're doing. And thank you for the work that you're doing.
Thank you, Tony.
There's so many people out there struggling with COPD right now, and I'm pretty sure, man, they could use a guy like you, you know. And I'm glad that you're in there doing what you're doing because, you know, you're making a huge difference. Thank you.
Oh yeah, I'm really glad to be in there. Really glad.
Yeah, man. And thank you for being on the show, brother. Thank you for being on the show. And for all everybody out there looking at the show, check out his podcast and check out his vlog, man. And this man is a ride. And for those of us, for those out there who have podcasts, reach out to him, man. You won't be disappointed. He is a blast to have on. And
thank you.
I'm very honored, man. I'm very honored. And so that will conclude another episode of Memories of Us. And for those out there, you guys stay strong. Until next time, keep your head up. Keep moving.
Thank you for tuning in to another fantastic episode of Memories of Us podcast. Don't forget to like and subscribe. We have new conversations every Tuesday. Check us out on all of your popular podcast platforms like iHeartRadio, Google Podcast, and Spotify. Until next time, stay strong.